Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I'm your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Trisha. Today, we're going to be talking about the on-screen romance in the Netflix series Lincoln Lawyer, which is based off of the movie Lincoln Lawyer. In the movie, he tends to run his entire practice from his Lincoln. The series, not so much. He spends a lot of his time in Lincoln, but it's a little bit different. So if you have seen the movie and not the series, we're going to be talking about the series today.
Yes. And I'm going to give a brief summary about it. So The Lincoln Lawyer is a fast-paced legal drama following Mickey Haller, a smooth-talking defense attorney. Season 1 kicks off with Mickey dusting himself off after a rough patch and diving headfirst into a juicy murder case involving a tech mogul. Seasons 2 and 3 crank up the drama and danger as Mickey juggles courtroom twists, shady criminal networks, and plenty of personal curveballs, all while keeping his charm and wit fully intact.
That's all true.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the first relationship that we know that he has as far as history goes. He's not currently with Maggie at the time. She is his ex-wife, but that's the mother of his daughter.
Yes.
And who we kind of see him tying up these loose ends with, or they have kind of this drama because of his addiction problems and past situations.
Yep.
So let's talk about Mickey and Maggie.
Let's do it. You want to go ahead?
Sure.
Okay.
I loved Maggie.
Yeah.
I think they have this dynamic between them, and maybe it's because they do have a daughter, but they're just always going to have a love for each other.
Yes.
They're kind of like that. How do you describe it? It's like they're just always going to have a place in each other's heart, no matter if they're with other people. They're just going to that person, they have a child together. They're always going to be in their lives in some capacity.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, I think there's a romantic attachment there.
I agree.
That might always be there.
I wrote something similar to that, that they'll always have love for each other, but that it can't really go further than just that.
Yeah.
That simple feeling, I guess. Obviously they have opposite jobs. She's also a lawyer, but she works in the prosecutor's office. So, and he's a defense attorney. So there's obviously that push and pull, but yeah, I think they know that it can't go any further than just that special spot they'll always have for each other.
Right. And I do think the fact that you brought up that they kind of work opposite of each other, we do see in, I think it was season 1 where something Mickey did for one of his cases really had a bad effect on one of hers, and it kind of messed her up, and that was a point of contention. Yeah. And I could see where that would be a very difficult consistency in a marriage.
Totally.
But regardless of that, though, or despite that, I'll say, I feel like they have a mutual respect for one another that kind of goes above that.
For sure.
And why they can still be cordial.
Yeah, definitely.
With each other in regards to their daughter, and just personally, because they do tend to help each other out with their cases if possible, or if the scenario comes to be.
Right. Totally.
But I was rooting for them, kind of.
Yeah, there was a moment where it's oh, maybe they'll get back together. He's clean. He's, but he's really back in his work. As we said, he kind of
has his daughter
had
over.
A dry spell with work, and basically this practice gets thrown in his lap, or this case does, because the guy died or something. This big, the first murder case,
his whole clientele and office essentially, but has to jump into this ongoing case.
Yeah, so there was definitely a point where it's oh, maybe they can work it out. He's back on track with life and work, and I think
one of those chemistry versus compatibility thing. They had undeniable chemistry. That's why they kind of found themselves back in that will they, won't they? Yeah, it's just comfortable. They know each other. They have history together. They were married for years, and so there was a part of me that was maybe they can just set the differences with work aside and really keep it more separate.
Yeah.
And make it work for their daughter's sake, for their sake. Like, they're both happy together. But
Yeah.
so because of that, I think maybe their relationship got to a toxic point, which is why they chose to divorce, because he was obviously making poor life choices.
Yeah.
But I think where it stands currently in the series that we get to see as viewers, I don't think their relationship is toxic.
No, far from it. Totally.
And speaking of Mickey's ex-wives.
Yeah, that brings us to Lorna.
It does.
Who is at first just like his assistant of sorts.
Mhm.
Like she wasn't
Kind
a
of like
practicing
secretary almost.
Yeah, she wasn't a practicing attorney. She becomes one, which is so great. But yeah, I don't know, they were kind of like exes to best friends, kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they don't really give us much on like how they met, how their marriage was, why it ended. It just was like, oh, you're the ex, but we clearly get along still.
Yeah,
and
like
we're
they're
really great friends.
They're great friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like their working relationship is very healthy. Like,
oh yeah, I love their dynamic.
I mean, she wants what's best for him in work, in his relationships that she sees him get into. Like, she knows him so well. But obviously we don't see a romantic relationship with them. Right.
Yeah. And I think he feels similarly about her too, cares for her and wants to invest in her and sees the value that she adds to his life personally and professionally. And
yeah, totally.
I just think they're lots of fun. They have like a really good banter because they do know each other. So it makes it fun to watch them on screen.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
They do have great on-screen chemistry, but we just don't see it in like the romantic sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say the first romantic relationship that we really saw on screen was between Nikki and Lisa in season 2.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Lisa.
Lisa, that's my girl, Lana Parrilla. I love her. I love her from Once Upon a Time because she was the evil queen, and I loved her character. Because she was like the villain, but she was mostly just misunderstood. But that's all I'll get into with that, because I could talk for days about Once Upon a Time. But anyway, so Lisa they first meet at her restaurant. She's like the head chef of this restaurant, opened this restaurant. She's obviously stunning. And I guess she like...
So is Mickey, by the way.
Yes.
I haven't really mentioned that yet, but...
Yeah, he is.
Also stunning.
Totally. I guess she like ended up having a restraining order filed against her from some guy. And that's kind of how Mickey agreed to help her, was with this restraining order. And ultimately she becomes a suspect in this person's murder case. Murder case. The person who filed this restraining order ends up dead, and she becomes the primary suspect. So that's kind of after the fact. But when he's agreed to help her with this restraining order, you can tell that there's like immediate chemistry between them, just because like we just said, they're both like great looking people. Like, she's, this head chef, a hard worker, all this stuff. And we very quickly see them have like a passionate moment.
They have a hookup.
They have a hookup. They share this passionate kiss. He like stays the night. Yeah. So, I mean, they do have a lot in common too. Like, she's very into like the social justice, and obviously he's a defense attorney helping the underdog kind of thing. So like they share that passion.
And she just like wants to like build the community. Like her business is kind of like a bright spot in the community where she lives. And when she does get herself involved in this murder case, it kind of is like, what's going to happen to her business? That's her baby. That's like all that dynamic comes between them as well. I mean, I thought they had great chemistry as far as like they look great together. They had good banter. They have similarities that really make you be like, oh, maybe this is Mickey's person. Like,
yeah, totally. I was like, oh my gosh, if they like keep this going, that would be so great. I would love it.
And they do keep it going all the way through to the end of season 2.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
a lot happens between then.
I mean, yeah, they definitely they share a few more spicy moments.
Spicy is the exact word I wrote down.
Very spicy moments.
Because it also has to be kind of like low-key on the DL secret almost, because he's literally her attorney. She's his client.
Right.
Representing her in this case.
Yeah, and that's where it kind of becomes like Harry is, where he's kind of faced with like this moral, ethical dilemma of like being professional and representing her as a client, but he's like has actual strong feelings for her, just like as a person.
Especially when she like shows up at his house, like knocks on the door, and like how can he's finding himself in a position like he can't refuse.
Yeah, he can't deny
even
her.
If he's like, we shouldn't. I need to be careful. Like,
yeah,
because I also think he genuinely believed that she was innocent in all of this.
At first,
At first, in the back of his mind, he's like, it looks bad now, but like eventually we're gonna get this squared away.
It's gonna be fine,
and everything's gonna be fine. And so I don't mind investing a little bit of myself into her.
Right.
But then
it takes a turn when she actually gets arrested for the murder.
Yeah,
and then it kind of just like stops. Like the intimate interactions kind of just stop there, because I think he really starts to question her innocence and ends up
like her trust.
Right.
Because it went beyond or outside of a professional relationship from the very beginning.
Yep.
At the restaurant, it's like I think he allowed himself to trust her in a way that he was met with disappointment when he realized, wait a second, you've been straight up lying to me.
Yeah, and the evidence is just like stacking up against her more and more each day. So I think he's really like, shoot, I actually think she's guilty, but like he obviously has a duty to represent her to the best of his ability.
And he is a great defense attorney.
The best. I mean, ultimately she's acquitted, and he knew.
For all us non-law speak people out here, what does acquitted mean?
Oh, she was found not guilty.
Okay.
Of the murder of this person. So she's acquitted, and ultimately Mickey, he kind of like keeps digging after the fact, because he just like, he knows at this point like she did it. There's too many things pointing to it.
Also, then, once she's acquitted, she's thinking in her mind, okay, great, like, let's be together. And like, he's just left with this, like, gut feeling of, like, I can't just jump into this. Like, something ain't right here.
Yeah. Yeah, so he ultimately figures out the whole thing, and I don't know, he, like, kind of slyly tells
he kind of
the prosecutor's office, like, you might want to go digging in her garden, because I think there's a body there. And he's right. But I was sad when that happened, because I was like really rooting for her to be not guilty. Yeah. And also for them to be together. I was like, oh, this would be so great.
And like, I think it's one of those situations where part of you is like, was it justified? I mean, murder's never really justified, or I mean, that's a whole different argument in itself. But in this case, the dude that she killed ultimately was kind of like an annoying snake who was going to she was going to lose everything, lose her business or whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it was like a gentrification situation or not in the community, but it was a threat to her directly in her business and her livelihood and all that. And like, she felt like she did something bad for the greater good.
Right.
But
you can't do that.
It's still murder.
Yeah.
You don't get to just
like not how that
do
works,
that.
Unfortunately.
And Mickey obviously wasn't going to be chill with that.
No.
So
yeah,
we see their relationship come to a
screeching
halt.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But it was great while it lasted, and I think I liked the tug of war back and forth of his inner thoughts, like battling the ethical choice and her feeling like kind of pushy about it,
Yeah.
and him ultimately having self-control to be like, listen, he obviously finds her attractive.
Yeah.
They can get along great. She's not like a threat to society, like
Right.
in that sense, but at the end of the day, you gotta
Yeah.
do the crime, you gotta do the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, great on-screen chemistry, obviously. Ultimately, what did you say?
toxic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're dating a murderer
For sure. And
who's lying about it.
right. So once we find out she's lying about it, it's like, okay,
Yeah, I'm like, this
you
can't
were just
work.
manipulating him the whole time.
Yeah, it was not a good look for her.
Yeah.
But
So toxic.
yeah, we do see though, like throughout this second season, the prosecutor
Yes.
of this exact case,
Yep.
Andrea,
Yep.
and her and Mickey kind of exchanged several words throughout the, just as like colleagues, but also like enemies.
Right. Like we're opposing counsel.
Yeah,
so
right. But they kind of know of each other, and like Andrea like knows Maggie, and so there's like a mutual respect between them. But season 3 is where we kind of see them start to have some feelings,
connections,
like more than friends.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Mickey and Andrea's relationship.
Yeah. So obviously, like we just said, they were opposing counsel. So she's a prosecutor, he's a defense attorney.
Back again, just like Maggie.
Yeah. She definitely likes him, though. Like, I feel like it was so obvious, even with like the little digs she would make towards him during the trial. Like, obviously, it's frustrating for her as a prosecutor to have a defense attorney in general, going against you. But
especially one that good.
Yeah.
Who has a great record of winning.
Yeah. Like, she's just frustrated at that.
And he's hot.
But, I mean, even when she like brought him the coffee cup that said like #1 defense attorney or something like that, like you could tell like she just kind of wanted to be around him.
Yeah.
And
she likes that he's in her sphere of influence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? Because like at the end of the day, you're both attorneys. You both have a job to do, but you both,
and they're both equally important.
Right, exactly. And you again have, even though they do very different jobs, they have this same work ethic as far as like, and this might be true for a lot of attorneys. I'm certainly not everyone, but where they're gonna do whatever it takes, to help their client get the outcome that they want.
Yeah.
And it's going to bleed into their personal lives, because if you just left it at the desk, you're not going to be good at your job.
Yeah.
So they kind of have that mutual respect as far as like, yeah, you go hard for your people. Well, guess what? I'm going hard for mine.
Yeah. I felt like they really didn't have any like hard feelings about that, though.
No.
Like it was kind of just like you're saying, that this is just what we do.
3.
Yeah.
Season 2, they were a little bit like,
sure.
the back and forth of like working the same case.
Yeah.
But still like with respect.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I thought that they're very complimentary of each other, because their personalities were different enough that it worked. Like it works. Like, I don't know. I think that Andrea is the type of person who is so okay. We recently talked about Sandra Bullock's character Margaret in The Proposal, and how she was so straight-laced and like almost hardened, and just being like, I'm gonna put on this persona of like, nothing can break me down, like I have a huge wall up and nobody's gonna get through it. I kind of got that same vibe of Andrea, of like, I don't need no man, I don't need nobody, I can do anything in this world that I want, I can do it on my own. And that might very well be true, but I think we're kind of seeing the side of her that says, but I may not want to.
Yeah, she definitely starts to soften. And like, I don't know, they do have great balance. And I think Mickey softened her a lot. Like, he just was so comforting, and like when she was dealing with that tough case, and
oh gosh,
someone basically
she dropped the ball.
Yeah, she really dropped the ball, and it ended horribly for someone else. I think through that whole thing, like, he was so he was so cute with her
He
and
was.
like just comforting, and she kind of
And just
allowed that wall to come
reassuring.
down a little bit.
Because I think you can definitely tell she expects perfection from herself.
Yes. Yeah.
So like him humanizing the situation to be like, listen, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
You drop the ball, sure, but like you're probably never going to do that again because of this. So like all you can do is learn from it and go forward. Like you can't beat yourself up about it, as horrible as it was.
Yeah. Like it cost someone their life.
Yeah.
The mistake. So like I could understand she felt the gravity of it, but
and she should feel the gravity of like, oh gosh, I should never make this mistake again. Yeah. Like you should double, triple check that who needs to know is in the know.
Right.
But yeah, like I thought his comfort and just reassurance of like, listen,
yeah,
this is a tough job.
Yeah. And at the same time, she was dealing with like kind of the office politics too, about like a promotion or something like that.
And like her assistant was basically the one to like rat her out. And it didn't work well in her favor. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Andrea is a baller, and you want her to represent you just as much as the next person wants Mickey to represent them. Yeah. But I'm trying to remember like where they left off at the end of season 3, which we just saw, like, I forget what it was, a couple months ago it came out.
Yeah. They like, I don't know, they basically just ended things. Like,
yeah, but I don't.
It was like kind of, I hated how they did it and why.
I don't want because that to be the end.
They didn't really give like a legitimate reason, really, like for why they ended it.
And we don't really know what she's going to do professionally or where she's going to go because she quit.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we'll see what happens with them, but I do like them together.
Me too.
And I think they both had genuine, real feelings. Yeah. Like, because at first it kind of became this like friends with benefits kind of situation, which then quickly developed into stronger feelings. Yeah. And I think that at least Andrew was like kind of scared to commit. Yeah. And so I think she's just a runner, and Mickey's kind of just like, I don't know, I think it's kind of scary for him too, because he obviously hasn't been with anybody since Lisa the murderer, and before that his ex-wife. So yeah. I don't know. I liked them together. I hope to see more of them somehow, some way, whatever the storyline.
Yeah, me too. I think the way they ended it was so dumb. Like, whatever their differences were or why they like didn't want to keep doing what they were doing is like, that's lame. You guys can work it out. Yeah. Like,
well, and just the way that the season ended in general is going to be interesting.
Oh,
with,
yeah,
like,
that's going to be being crazy.
Like under the fire. So I don't know if she'll come back and like somehow help represent him. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, we did see Lorna in season 3 finally come into her own as an actual attorney. She passed the bar exam in the beginning. And so we got to see her actually like working a few files, and seeing her in the courtroom, and she's got this like strong confidence about her because she's just like fresh. She's out like the gate.
Yeah, she knows her everything. Case law. She really knows it all.
So that was fun. So I think maybe we will see her step into that role to represent Mickey, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. And that's really the only other couple that we see on the show is Lorna and Cisco.
Cisco, so your favorite.
Oh my gosh, Cisco, you guys.
Oh,
like
Lord.
They work,
but like somehow
Cisco, like guys, like hey, we're going down. I can't even do it. Like
you do it better than me, but
he just growls. Like he's like, yeah, Mickey, I got him.
I'm not even like, doing it right. What's that one? The Batman guy? Yeah. I don't even know who that.
Batman? Isn't it Batman?
No, but isn't there... Maybe, but wasn't there... I don't know. Some character in Batman...
Superhero people.
We're not. But there's there's a Batman movie where the guy has that weirdo mask thing
That's Batman.
No, I'm not talking about that mask.
Well, I think Batman also talks like...
Batman. I'm the Batman.
I don't know, but Cisco be talking like that. Okay? Yeah, and it just really bothers me. Like he's so cringe to me. I'm like, and again, it's like no offense to the actor because I think the performance he gives is like totally cool. Yeah, but I'm just kind of like, that's the motorcycle. Like I'm thinking more like Jason Momoa like type. I think that's
Yeah.
what they like wanted him to be portrayed as.
They
and
really
I'm just
missed the
like,
mark there, but
yeah, but their relationship dynamic is so interesting to me
Mhm.
because they're literally always together. Like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
does that work?
And like sometimes they're just like sleeping at the office.
I literally put that. They're like always at the office.
Yeah. I mean, their relationship, it makes no sense to me at
First
all.
of all, I know why they're sleeping at the office because the lights are always off in the office.
Yeah.
It don't matter what time of day it is.
Yeah,
it's
true.
dark
It's
in
dark
there.
in there. I don't know.
Maybe one lamp is on, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they complement each other. Like they're both very good at their jobs. They have very specific roles at the office, and that complements each other. But like as far as
We really only saw them have one conflict in like early on, like maybe it was season 2, where he was kind of like indebted to the one motorcycle gang.
yeah,
He
yeah.
kind of had to keep some of it a secret
Mhm.
to protect Lorna,
right.
but a secret nonetheless. And she could kind of pick up that vibe that like he's not telling me the truth, and then that kind of caused this like not division, but just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
We gotta like clear the air, and
Right.
they did finally. And I think that really like opened the floodgates for them to be like, okay, we can get married.
Yeah.
Because like they were, I think that was a season like before they got married or
Yeah, yeah.
something about that. But overall, I do think that they're just cute together.
They're fine.
Their
They work.
Their
It
chemistry
works.
is kind of like
there is
blah.
no.
It's
I
just
feel like there is no romantic chemistry. Like we
Like-
don't really see them like
when they kiss. I'm like, you like that, Lorna? To each
Lord,
his own. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you know
Sure.
what? He can take care of business. So like,
yeah,
I'm sure as a partner wise, like
she's safe.
she's safe, and she has no fear.
Yeah,
Number one, so she needs someone like Cisco to be like pulling her back by the
Mhm.
shirt, like, no, you can't do that.
yeah.
You can't
Sorry,
be going
girl.
in there because I know you will,
Right, right.
but you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
So I do think that their relationship brings like a fun dynamic to the show.
yeah, yeah. I. It's not like I wish it wasn't there.
No,
It needs to be there. I
No.
guess.
yeah, Cisco. I'm like, I want to
The
know if
vo-
he talks like that in real life.
I mean, the voice alone would have me filing.
I'm
But like,
Yeah.
there's no way.
no.
Well, there was no way I'd even make him in the first place. But
I tracked this dude down at the motorcycle bar. I'm like, dude, I can't.
oh my gosh! But
Oh my god.
I mean, toxic or non-toxic? Not toxic.
No, they're not toxic at all.
No.
No, they're cute. They're
Yeah.
cuties.
They are.
They're a match made in heaven. And really, I think overall, like, I think that the little bit of on-screen chemistry and romance that we do see in the show
Mm-hmm.
is great. It's
Yeah.
like just enough.
Just
because
enough.
it's not a romance show.
No.
And it's not cheesy bits that we get. It's like
Yeah.
real life situations
Mm-hmm.
that people are faced with that we're kind of, we see the push and pull, we see the will they won't they, we see the why aren't they being
Right.
together component. And I actually really enjoy the romance we do get to see on the
Yeah.
show.
Me too. Me too.
And it's one of the reasons why it keeps me coming back on top of
Exactly.
like the drama of it all.
Yeah.
which
The
is
storylines are always
so great. Yeah.
Mhm.
But, and I think overall, maybe minus Cisco, I think the casting is super great too. Like
Yeah.
everyone is just like meant to be in their role. And even his assistant, the other younger girl
Oh yeah.
who he represented in the first season, I really like her character too.
Yeah. Me too. She's
So
awesome.
it's fun to see kind of like where her storyline is going and all that.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah. I mean,
Love it.
do you have a favorite? I mean, as far as meet cutes go, I feel like the only actual meet cute would have been Mickey and Lisa at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
I mean that's really the only one that we at least get to see like
Yeah.
from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as far as rating that meet cute, I think that's
I did
5-star. Like
yeah.
I think it's cute that it really was an organic
Yes.
meeting.
Yep.
Like he wasn't like purposely going there to see her. Like it
Mhm.
just kind of happened naturally.
yeah.
And that's the big reason why I wish it wouldn't have gone south, because I
know.
really, really did enjoy watching them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, and as far as like the star rating for like just romance overall,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'd give it a 4.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I find myself being frustrated by the relationships,
Mm-hmm.
but Mostly I like it. Love it.
Yeah, me too. I like that rating.
Good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So
could you imagine though if I was like, actually, I think it's a 1 star. At
well,
best.
hey, that's why we're two galleys sharing our unsolicited opinions, and we don't always agree.
It's true.
That's why we're friends. we don't always agree on lots of things in life, but relationships we tend to be mostly aligned.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, that's Lincoln Lawyer. Thanks for listening as always.
Yep.
And be sure to catch us in the next episode.
See ya.